Hello, everyone. I'm popping in here with a Between Seasons update episode on everything that's happened since my last episode, which I published in November, shortly after my new son, my second son, named Teddy, came to be in the world. He was 9 weeks old at the time, and now he has just turned 5 months old today. And I decided to record this episode to share two major insights that I've had over the past several months of being on maternity leave and being with him and just removing myself from the busyness of my life and having a moment to reflect. If you're interested in my labor, birth, and postpartum experience with Teddy, which was pretty crazy and intense and shows a lot about the healthcare system and mental health and a lot of other details, you can find it on the getwellbe podcast page. It's the last episode that I recorded, which I mentioned I did in November 2023. My first major learning, which of course I knew and I talked about in that birthing episode in November, but now I'm going through what I hope is the end of the 4-month sleep regression, which for those of you non-parents, is when a newborn baby reaches about 3 months, they start to sleep better, or even through the night, and it's a glorious thing, and you think you're through the storm and that it's going to stay that way. Well, spoiler alert, that's not what happens. Around 4 months, it all falls apart, or at least it did for both of my sons and many other families. Of course, I completely blacked out my first son's experience and remembered him being just a fabulous sleeper from the beginning. That's apparently how we continue to have children, is that we black out all the hard things. But anyway, back to the point. During this 4-month sleep regression, your baby wakes up multiple times a night, often looking for a pacifier, and some even scream to be fed or go back to needing an overnight feeding or two when they may have stopped needing any overnight nursings or feedings at around that 3-month mark. Anyway, it's terrible, and I've been waking up 2 to 6 times a night every night and waking up for the day well before my toddler does, usually around 6, since mid-December. And it's become just so apparent to me that sleep and sleep deprivation, even if it's just a little too little sleep, too many nights or even weeks or even years in a row, is so related to mental health and so related to immune system strength. Those days that I've had after some very rough nights, I feel like I can't cope with anything. I feel hopeless. I feel depressed. I feel like I have no engine. And then if I go to bed super early to catch up and my son Teddy decides to grant me a pretty good night with maybe just one wake up, it's the complete opposite. I'm highly productive, I'm optimistic, I'm more loving to my husband and children, I'm more joyful. It's such a difference. So if you're an adult who sleeps less than 7 hours a night, or you have poor quality sleep and think you might be sleeping less than 7 hours a night as a result, and doing this routinely, I urge you to get a sleep tracker. Now, sleep trackers do emit some EMF, so I'm not saying it's a forever thing, but I think using one for a few weeks or a few months to understand the quality and quantity of your sleep, so you actually know how you're sleeping and how much total sleep you're getting, and how much REM sleep you're getting, which is that really deep, restorative, reparative type of sleep, then you can actually know if you need to do some improving. And maybe you can tie it to some symptoms of a poor immune system, i.e. getting sick a lot, not being able to kick a virus or bacteria that's been lingering a long time, or some focus issues. There are so many things. So I use the Oura Ring. I don't have any relationship with them. I just decided that it's a good one for sleep tracking. And I don't plan to use it forever, as I mentioned, but it's been extremely helpful in these turbulent sleep times for me, just to know how many wake events I've had and how much total sleep I've gotten, so that I understand why I feel the way I do. And when my sleep score is so bad that I need to make time to nap during the day, no matter how much I feel like I have going on. Now, if you know you sleep less than 7 hours a night routinely, do whatever you can to get over that number each night. And if you can get 8 or 8.5 hours of sleep, even better. The benefits of sleep every night are up to 9 hours a night for adults. It's not indulgent, it's reparative. And it can only help your body restore itself from all the damage and work it has to do during the day. It boosts your immune system, it improves your mental health, it improves your brain function, and most importantly, your ability to focus I can't stress enough how important sleep is, and absolutely nobody gets to get less. There are no shortcuts. If you're a human being and you're an adult, you need between 7 and 9 hours of night. Some people need 7, some people need 8, 8.5, 9. 8 is the average, but different people have different needs. But nobody needs less than 7. And nobody who is generally healthy, meaning not dealing with a chronic disease or an acute illness, needs more than 9. So if you're needing a ton, there's probably something going on beneath the surface, a ton meaning more than 9 a night. And if you're needing less than 7 or you're getting less than 7 and you think you can function for a whole lifetime that way, I have some news for you. That's not how it's going to go. All right, my second major learning is about the amazing power of community and the buddy system. One of my favorite books that I reference constantly since founding Wellbe and in my personal life is Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari. It's about how we lived when we were nomadic Homo sapiens, and it's a fantastic reminder every day that for most of history, humans lived in groups of about 150 people. We were nomadic, meaning we didn't have a set home, but traveled around together. And we needed to be part of this tribe, and we thrived on being part of a community. And especially for women, there were always other women around. You were in a group of women. We weren't living in siloed homes, especially with new babies. There were aunts and mothers and grandmothers and sisters and women friends and cousins to commiserate with each other, support each other, and raise the children together so that everybody had somebody looking out for everybody else's children. And you didn't feel like a modern mother like myself who can't find the time to shower alone or use the bathroom alone because, again, they weren't doing that back then. But the idea is that there's so many people who can be watching your child at a given time in that scenario, and now it doesn't necessarily feel that way. I was having a lot of trouble getting back into exercise, and I will tie in why this has to do with Sapiens and community and your tribe in a second. So I was having a lot of trouble getting back into exercise after I was cleared to exercise after giving birth. I think it was early November that I was cleared. And I thought, okay, I'll just go right back to that. And I had no motivation to do so. I was feeling very resistant to it. And I began having workout dates with my friend and my neighbor shortly after New Year's. And it's been such a change. We really haven't missed a workout date together yet. Doesn't mean I haven't missed a day of working out, but when we make a date, we keep it. And I really look forward to it. And it has made us both regular exercisers simply from doing it together. Now, the days that we don't plan to work out together, I do it here and there and I'll text her, but overall, it's a much lower success rate for me. Now, the same is true for a book club I just formed. Though I love to read, I hadn't read a page of a book since August, right before my son Teddy was born. And once we chose a book for this book club just 3 weeks ago, I've read every single day. And I'm so excited to be in a book club again and to be reading again. I could never find the time, but now I find the time every day because I don't want to go to our book club meeting with all my friends not having finished this book. Community, groups, the buddy system, friendship. It's incredibly powerful for motivation and for habit change and for habit formation. So don't doubt it. And if there's something you'd like to change or start doing in your life and you've struggled to commit to yourself about doing it, whether that's exercise, eating healthier, reducing drinking, quitting smoking, a meditation practice, whatever it is, try to form or join a group or find a buddy, but make sure that these are real relationships. So you really don't want to let the other person or the group down, not just, a random book club online where you've never met anybody. You might be amazed at the difference. I certainly was. And don't forget that this is all biologically based, therefore scientifically based. We need to be part of a tribe. That's how we've been for most of human existence. And not letting down our fellow tribespeople, our community, or our family and friends. This is all very much built into our DNA. So this is why it works. And I highly recommend it based on my own experience. So that's it for now. I'm following the American Academy of Pediatrics recommendation of exclusively breastfeeding, which means, if you can help it, no formula or anything else besides breast milk for at least the first 6 months of life by continuing to nurse Teddy 5 times a day, which I'm not gonna lie, takes away a lot of my freedom and ability to travel and be away from him and schedule phone calls or appointments. But this is what I signed up for when I decided to have him, so this is what it is for now. In the meantime, make sure you're on the Wellbe newsletter list, and you can get on that newsletter list by going to getwellbe.com. And also make sure you're following at getwellbe on Instagram, because that's where I'm sharing the most updates. I'm sending lots of love to you and yours this Valentine's Day, and can't wait to check in with you again soon.